The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Red envelope. No return address. My name written in letters cut from magazines like something out of a crime movie. I almost threw it away. Almost. But 57 years of curiosity won out. Inside was a single sentence. You took everything from me. Now I'm taking everything from you. My hands shook as I read it 3 times, 4 times, trying to make sense of words that made no sense. Took everything. From who? I was a retired elementary school teacher, a widow, a mother of 3. I hadn't taken anything from anyone. My name is Carol Bennett. I live in a quiet neighborhood in Seattle. My life is simple. Coffee with my book club on Thursdays, babysitting my grandkids on weekends, volunteering at the library. That's it. That's my whole world. But that letter, those words, they changed everything. I called my oldest daughter Rebecca first. She's always been my logical one, the problem solver. She's 35 now, works in marketing, has 2 kids of her own. Mom, it's probably just a prank, some kid playing around. Rebecca, this feels different. The way it's written, the red envelope, someone knows where I live. Did you call the police and tell them what? Someone sent me a vague threat. They'll think I'm a paranoid old woman. You're not old, Mom. But maybe you should show them anyway, just to be safe. We talked for another 20 minutes. She promised to come over after work, bring the kids, stay for dinner. Normal things, comforting things, but I couldn't shake the feeling. That letter wasn't random. Someone out there believed I'd wronged them, believed it enough to threaten me. I spent the afternoon trying to think, trying to remember. Had I upset someone, made an enemy? But my life had been so ordinary, teaching second graders for 30 years, raising my kids, taking care of my husband Tom through his illness. Where was the drama? Where was the conflict? Then I remembered the box, the one in my closet, top shelf, behind the winter coats I never wore, the box I hadn't opened in 28 years. My heart pounded as I pulled it down. Dust covered the lid. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside were documents, old documents, adoption papers, medical records, letters from lawyers, things I'd buried after Tom died, things I'd promised myself I'd never look at again, and a photograph. 4 babies in hospital cribs, identical, perfect, sleeping peacefully, my breath caught. The quadra. How could I have forgotten? How had I pushed it so far down that it felt like someone else's memory? The doorbell rang. I jumped, nearly dropping the box, shoved it back in the closet, tried to compose myself. Rebecca stood on my porch with my grandkids, Emma, 7, and Jack, 5. They ran inside, full of energy and noise and life. Grandma, we brought cookies. Emma held up a container from the bakery. That's wonderful, sweetie. Why don't you and Jack go play in the living room while Mommy and I talk? Rebecca followed me to the kitchen, took one look at my face. What happened? You look like you've seen a ghost. I found something I'd forgotten about, or maybe tried to forget. I told her about the box, about the adoption papers, about the quadruplets. She stared at me. Mom, what are you talking about? What quadruplets? Before you were born, before your father and I had any of you, we tried for years to have children. Nothing worked. The doctors said it wasn't possible, so we looked into adoption. I knew you adopted Daniel. You told us that when we were kids, but there's more. We were supposed to adopt 4 babies, quadruplets. Their mother died in childbirth. The father couldn't care for them alone. We were chosen. All the paperwork was done. We were going to have 4 children at once. Rebecca sat down. What happened? 3 days before we were supposed to pick them up, your father got cold feet, said it was too much. 4 babies at once. The financial burden, the stress. He backed out. The agency was furious. They'd already placed the babies with us on paper, had to scramble to find new families. So someone else adopted them. 3 families. They split them up. Each family took 1 or 2. It nearly destroyed the agency. There was talk of lawsuits, bad publicity, but eventually it all settled down. We moved forward, adopted Daniel a year later. Then I got pregnant with you. Then Amy. Life moved on. And now someone's threatening you because of that. Mom, that was almost 40 years ago. Why would anyone care now? I don't know, but what if one of those babies grew up and found out they were supposed to be raised together, that we were supposed to be their family, and we abandoned them? You didn't abandon anyone. Dad changed his mind. That's allowed. But what if they don't see it that way? We sat in silence. In the living room, my grandchildren laughed. So innocent, so unaware of the darkness creeping into our lives. The next letter arrived on Thursday. Another red envelope. Same cut-out letters. Day 2. Did you think about what you did? Did you remember their faces? You ruined 4 lives. Now, I ruin yours. I called the police this time. Detective Harrison came to my house. Mid-40s, kind eyes, patient demeanor. He read both letters, asked questions, took notes. Mrs. Bennett, I'll be honest, these are concerning, but they're not specific enough to act on. No direct threat of violence, no demand for money, just vague accusations, but someone knows where I live, knows my past. I understand. I'll file a report, increase patrols in your neighborhood, but unless this escalates, there's not much else I can do. He left me with his card, told me to call if anything else happened. I felt helpless, exposed. That night, all 3 of my kids came over. Rebecca had told Daniel and Amy they wanted to help, wanted to protect me. Daniel, my son, was furious. Who does this? Who threatens a 57-year-old woman over something that happened before she even had kids? Someone who's been hurt, I said quietly. Someone who blames me for their pain. Amy, my youngest, held my hand. Mom, you didn't do anything wrong. You and Dad made a choice, a hard choice. But you're not responsible for how those babies' lives turned out. But what if I am? What if splitting them up damaged them? What if they needed each other and we took that away? That's not on you, Daniel insisted. That's on the adoption agency, on the system, not on you. But I couldn't shake the guilt. For 28 years, I'd convinced myself it didn't matter, that those babies had gone to good homes, that they'd thrived. But what if they hadn't? What if one of them had struggled, suffered, and now blamed me? The 3rd letter arrived on Saturday. This one was different. Longer. Carol Bennett, mother of 3, grandmother of 4. You have everything. The family you built, the love you received, while I have nothing, no siblings, no connection to the people who share my blood. You stole that from me. You and your coward husband. Now you pay. They knew about my grandchildren, knew their number. The threat was escalating. I called Detective Harrison immediately. He came within an hour. This crosses a line, he said. Mentioning your grandchildren is an implied threat. I can open a formal investigation now. What does that mean? We'll try to trace the letters. Check security cameras near your home. See if we can identify who's delivering them. In the meantime, I want you to consider staying somewhere else, with one of your kids, just until we sort this out. I'm not leaving my home. This is where Tom and I built our life, where I raised my children. I won't be scared away. Rebecca disagreed. Mom, please, stay with us, at least for a few days. But I refused. Running felt like admitting guilt, like accepting that I'd done something wrong. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the quad for tiny babies, identical faces. Where were they now? Had they found each other? Did they know they were part of a set? And which one was sending these letters? I got out of bed around 2 a.m., made tea, sat at my kitchen table, stared at the red envelopes lined up in front of me. That's when I heard it. A sound outside, footsteps on my porch. My heart stopped. I grabbed my phone, dialed 911, whispered my address. The footsteps grew closer. Someone was at my door, testing the handle, trying to get in. I ran to the living room, grabbed the baseball bat Tom kept by the door, stood in the darkness, waiting. The door handle turned, locked, thank God. But whoever was out there wasn't giving up. I heard scraping, metal on metal. They were picking the lock. Where were the police? How long did 911 say? 5 minutes. 10. The door opened. A figure stepped inside. Dark clothes, face covered, tall, male, I thought, or maybe a large woman, hard to tell in the darkness. Get out, I screamed, raised the bat. I called the police. They're coming. The figure stopped, didn't speak, just stood there, watching me. What do you want? My voice shook. If this is about the adoption, let's talk. Please, we can figure this out. Still nothing, just heavy breathing. And then, slowly, they reached up, pulled down the mask. I gasped, dropped the bat. The face staring back at me was familiar, impossibly familiar. It was like looking at Rebecca, but different, sharper features, harder eyes, but the resemblance was undeniable. You know who I am, she said. Her voice was cold, flat. You've always known. I don't understand. Yes, you do. Look at me, Carol. Really look. And then I saw it, the birthmark on her neck, the same birthmark Rebecca had, the same one Amy had, the same one I had. That's impossible, I whispered. Is it? You think you only had 3 children? You think the universe let you off that easy? My mind raced, tried to make sense of what I was seeing. This woman looked like my daughters, had the family birthmark, but that was impossible. Unless the pregnancy with Rebecca, I said slowly. I was so sick. The doctor said it was just morning sickness. But what if there was more? What if there were two babies? She smiled. No warmth in it. Now you're getting it. Twins. But they only found one on the ultrasound. Old technology. Easy to miss. I was hiding. And when you went into labor, they took Rebecca first. Then you started hemorrhaging. They rushed you to surgery. In all the chaos, nobody noticed the second baby. Me. That's not possible. Someone would have said something. They did. The nurse who delivered me. But she was young, scared. The hospital threatened her, said she'd be fired for negligence, for missing a twin. So she kept quiet, and I was given to another family, listed as abandoned, put into the system. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. You're my daughter. Biologically, yes, but you're not my mother. Mothers don't abandon their children. Mothers don't give up. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know you existed. Maybe. Or maybe you suspected and chose not to look. Either way, you had everything. And I had nothing. Sirens in the distance. Getting closer. She heard them too. This isn't over, she said. You need to understand what you took from me. What you owe me. She turned to leave. I found my voice. Wait, what's your name? She paused in the doorway. Melissa. My name is Melissa. The daughter you never knew. The sister Rebecca and Amy and Daniel never had. Then she was gone, disappeared into the night. The police arrived 2 minutes later, found me sitting on the floor, shaking, crying, unable to explain what had just happened. Detective Harrison took my statement. I told him everything about Melissa, about the birthmark, about the impossible claim she'd made. He was skeptical. Mrs. Bennett, are you sure she wasn't lying, using your family resemblance to manipulate you? I saw the birthmark. It's genetic, passed down through my mother's side. Only my biological children have it. We'll investigate, check birth records, hospital files, but this sounds ... unlikely. Maybe it was. Maybe I'd been so traumatized by the letters that I'd imagined the resemblance, wanted to believe there was an explanation, a reason. But deep down, I knew Melissa was real, and she was my daughter. The question was, what did she want, and how far would she go to get it? I didn't sleep for 3 days. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Melissa's face, saw the birthmark, heard her words, the daughter you never knew. Rebecca came over every day, brought food I couldn't eat, sat with me while I stared at nothing. She was trying to be strong, but I could see the fear in her eyes, the questions. Mom, if she's really your daughter, that means she's my twin, my identical twin. How is that possible? How could no one know? I don't know, sweetheart. I've been trying to remember, trying to piece it together. Tell me about the birth, everything you remember. I closed my eyes, went back 35 years, to that hospital room, to the pain and confusion and fear. It was emergency C-section. You were a breech, wouldn't turn. The doctor said we couldn't wait. I remember the surgery, the bright lights, your father holding my hand, and then they pulled you out. You cried immediately. Strong, healthy lungs. The doctor said, it's a girl, and I was so happy, so relieved. And then everything went wrong. I started bleeding, hemorrhaging. They rushed your father out, started working on me. I remember someone saying, we're losing her. I remember thinking I might die, that I'd never get to hold you. Rebecca gripped my hand. But you didn't die. No, they saved me, but I was in surgery for 4 hours, in recovery for 2 days. By the time I was stable enough to see you, you were in the nursery. Healthy, perfect. Your father was with you constantly. He never mentioned another baby. So, if there was a twin, where was she during all this? That's what I keep asking myself. If Melissa's telling the truth, someone took her, hid her, gave her away. While I was fighting for my life, we sat in silence. The implications were staggering. If this was real, it meant a hospital cover-up. Corruption, lies spanning decades. Detective Harrison called that afternoon. Mrs. Bennett, I need you to come to the station. I have some information. My hands shook as I drove. Rebecca came with me. Daniel met us there. We sat in Harrison's office, a small room that smelled like coffee and stress. I pulled your medical records from the birth, he said. It took some convincing. HIPAA regulations, but given the circumstances, the hospital cooperated. And your file shows 1 live birth. Female, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. No mention of a second child. But there's something strange. A gap in the records. From 11:47 p.m. to 2:15 a.m., 3.5 hours unaccounted for. That's when I was hemorrhaging. When they were trying to save me. Exactly. And I found something else. A nurse named Jennifer Wade was fired 3 days after your delivery, officially for negligence. But there's no specific incident listed, just failure to follow protocol. Can we talk to her? Rebecca asked. Find out what really happened. I'm trying to locate her. She left Seattle in 1990. No forwarding address. But I have people searching. What about Melissa? I asked. Did you find any record of her? Harrison's expression darkened. That's the disturbing part. I found a birth certificate. Melissa Ann Wade. Born the same day as Rebecca. Same hospital. But listed as abandoned. Mother unknown. Father unknown. She was placed in foster care at 3 days old. Wade. Like the nurse. Possibly a coincidence. Or possibly not. If Jennifer Wade took the baby, she might have given her her own last name before putting her in the system. Why would a nurse steal a baby? Money, desperation, mental illness, could be anything. But if she did, and if this Melissa is that baby, we have a bigger problem. What problem? Melissa knows where you live, knows your family, has made threats, and based on her intrusion into your home, she's escalating. I need you to take this seriously. Consider protective custody. I'm not hiding from my own daughter. She broke into your house, Mrs. Bennett, threatened your grandchildren. Whatever her reasons, she's dangerous. But I couldn't see her that way. All I saw was a little girl who'd been stolen, who'd grown up alone, who blamed me for everything wrong in her life. I want to meet with her, I said, officially, somewhere public, with police present. Let me talk to her. Let me try to fix this. Harrison sighed. That's a terrible idea. Maybe. But it's the only one I have. We set up the meeting for Wednesday. A coffee shop downtown, police surveillance, plainclothes officers at nearby tables. Harrison insisted on all of it. I arrived early, sat in the back corner, hands wrapped around a cup of tea I couldn't drink. Rebecca wanted to come, but I said no. This needed to be just us, just mother and daughter. If that's what we were. Melissa walked in at exactly 2 p.m. She'd been watching, knew the setup, but she came anyway. She sat across from me, up close, in daylight. The resemblance to Rebecca was undeniable. Same eyes, same cheekbones, same mouth. How had I not seen it before? How had I convinced myself it was a trick? Thank you for coming, I said. You think I have a choice? Your detective made it clear. Talk to you or face harassment charges. That's not why I'm here. I want to understand, want to know what happened to you. She laughed, bitter. You want to ease your guilt, make yourself feel better. Well, too bad. You don't get absolution. I'm not asking for it. I'm asking for your story. Please. She studied me, deciding. Finally, she spoke. I grew up in 7 different foster homes. Some were okay, most weren't. I was a difficult child, angry, didn't understand why I'd been abandoned, why no one wanted me. Melissa let me finish. When I was 16, I found my birth certificate, saw mother unknown. That's when I started searching. Spent years tracking records, paying hackers to break into hospital databases, and eventually, I found the truth. Jennifer Wade. The nurse who delivered me, the nurse who took me. Where is she now? Dead, overdosed in 1995. But before she died, she left journals, detailed journals, about the night I was born, about what she did. My heart pounded. What did she do? Melissa pulled out a folder, handed it to me. Inside were photocopies of handwritten pages, shaky writing, dated entries. I read, August 12, 1989. Tonight I did something terrible, but also right. Carol Bennett had twins, beautiful, identical girls, but she was dying, hemorrhaging. The doctors were frantic. In the chaos, no one noticed when I took the second baby, the smaller one, the one who was struggling. I thought I was saving her, thought I'd give her to a family who'd love her, but the adoption fell through, and I panicked, left her at a fire station, listed her as abandoned. God forgive me. Tears streamed down my face. She stole you to save you. She stole me because she was crazy, because she had some savior complex, and it ruined my life. But you could have died. The journal says you were struggling. Better to die with my mother than live alone. The words hit like a punch. All those years, all that pain, because one nurse made a split-second decision. Melissa, I didn't know. I swear to you, I didn't know. If I had, I would have searched for you, would have brought you home. Would you, or would you have been too busy with Rebecca? Too busy building your perfect little family. You're my daughter. You would have been part of that family. But I wasn't. I was in foster care, bouncing from home to home, watching other kids get adopted, wondering what was wrong with me. Why wasn't I good enough? Nothing was wrong with you. What happened was a crime, a terrible mistake. But it wasn't your fault, and it wasn't mine. She stood abruptly. You don't get it. You had everything. Love, family, security. I had nothing. And now I'm supposed to just forgive, forget, move on. I'm not asking you to forget. I'm asking you to let me try to make it right. You can't make it right. You can't give me back 35 years. You can't give me a childhood with siblings, with a mother who loved me. It's too late. It's not too late to be family now. She laughed, harsh, broken. Family. You want to play happy families. Have me over for Sunday dinner. Pretend everything's fine. I want to know you. Want you to know your sisters, your brother, your nieces and nephews. Yes, we lost 35 years, but we have time now, if you'll take it. She stared at me. I could see the war in her eyes, the part that wanted to believe, and the part that wanted to hurt me the way she'd been hurt. I'll think about it, she said finally, walked out. I sat there, shaking, crying. Detective Harrison appeared at my table. That went better than expected. No threats, no violence. She's broken, I whispered, and I don't know how to fix her. Maybe you can't. Maybe she has to fix herself. That night, I gathered my family, Daniel, Amy, Rebecca, told them everything, showed them Jennifer Wade's journals, explained about Melissa. Daniel was furious. So some crazy nurse stole a baby and we're supposed to just accept her into the family. She's your sister. She's a stranger who's been threatening you. Because she's in pain, Amy said quietly. Can you imagine growing up thinking you were abandoned, that nobody wanted you, when the whole time you had a family who didn't even know you existed? Rebecca was silent, staring at the journal entries. Finally, she looked up. I want to meet her. My twin. I want to know her. Rebecca, she could be dangerous, Daniel warned. Or she could be lost. Alone. Desperate for connection. We have to try. I'd raised compassionate children, maybe too compassionate, but I was proud of them. I'll reach out, I said. See if she'll meet us. All of us. No pressure. Just ... A chance. Melissa agreed to coffee. Just her and Rebecca. They met at a park. I watched from a distance, saw them sit on a bench, saw the awkward body language, the hesitant conversation. Rebecca told me later, it was like looking in a mirror, but a broken mirror. She's so angry, Mom. So hurt. But underneath, I could see it. The person she could have been. The sister I should have known. Did you make progress? I don't know. We talked about surface things. Jobs. Interests. But there was this wall. This barrier she's built. I don't know if we can break through. But they kept meeting. Once a week. Sometimes twice. Slowly. Carefully. Building something. Daniel and Amy joined eventually. Family dinners. Awkward at first. Melissa barely spoke. Just observed. Like she was studying us. Learning how normal families worked. But over weeks, months, something shifted. She started smiling occasionally, making jokes, letting her guard down. Until the day everything fell apart. It was Thanksgiving. 6 months after that first letter. We'd invited Melissa. She'd hesitated but agreed. Brought wine. Sat at our table. Seemed almost relaxed until the doorbell rang. I answered it. A woman stood there. Mid-60s, expensive clothes, cold eyes. Carol Bennett. Yes, my name is Patricia Wade. Jennifer Wade was my sister, and I think you have something that belongs to me. My blood ran cold. I don't understand. Millie said, my niece, the baby Jennifer saved from your neglect. I've been looking for her for years, and now I find out she's here, playing house with the woman who abandoned her. I didn't abandon her. I didn't even know. Jennifer's journals told a different story. Said you were an unfit mother, that you'd already backed out of adopting, that you couldn't handle another child. So Jennifer saved Melissa, gave her a chance at a better life. That's not true. None of that is true. But Patricia pushed past me, into my house, saw Melissa at the table, surrounded by family, by siblings, by love. Melissa Beatty, I've been searching for you. Come home with me. These people don't deserve you. Melissa stood slowly, looked at Patricia, then at us, at the family she'd found. Who are you? Your aunt, your blood. I've been trying to find you since Jennifer died, to take care of you, to give you the life you deserved. Where were you when I was in foster care, when I was being moved from home to home, when I was alone and scared and nobody wanted me? Patricia I didn't know. Jennifer never told me. By the time I found her journals, you'd aged out of the system, disappeared. So you weren't looking for me. You were looking for Jennifer's ghost, for absolution for your sister's crime. She didn't commit a crime. She saved you. She stole me. Melissa's voice cracked. She took me from my mother, from my twin, from my family. And you want to defend that? Your mother didn't want you. The records lie. I stepped forward. There was no record because Jennifer never gave anyone a chance to know Melissa existed. She took her in chaos, made a decision that wasn't hers to make, and my daughter paid the price. Patricia's face twisted. You're not her mother. You never were. You gave up 4 babies before her. You were going to give her up to. That's not what happened with we made a difficult choice, but we would never have given up our biological child. Never, Jennifer said. Jennifer was mentally ill. Daniel stood. Her own journals prove it. She had a savior complex, stole a baby, then abandoned her when her plan fell apart. That's not saving. That's kidnapping. The room erupted. Everyone talking at once. Accusations flying. 35 years of pain and anger and confusion boiling over, until Melissa screamed, "Stop!" Silence fell. She looked around, at all of us, at the mess we'd made. I've spent my whole life being fought over, abandoned, claimed, rejected. I'm done. I'm done being a victim of everyone else's choices. She grabbed her coat, headed for the door. Melissa, wait, I pleaded. Don't go. Not like this. She turned, tears streaming down her face. You want to know the worst part? I came here hating you, blaming you, wanting to destroy everything you loved. But now I've seen what I could have had, who I could have been, and it hurts worse than never knowing. She left, both of us, Patricia and me, standing in my destroyed Thanksgiving, staring at the door. This is your fault. Patricia hissed. If you'd been a better mother, get out of my house. Melissa deserves better than I said get out. Rebecca stood beside me, then Daniel, then Amy, united, protecting me, protecting our family. Patricia left, but the damage was done. Melissa wouldn't return our calls, wouldn't answer texts, had disappeared again. And I was back where I started, a mother with a missing daughter, but this time, it hurt more, because I'd known her, loved her, and lost her anyway. 3 weeks passed. Christmas came and went. The house felt empty even when it was full. Every family gathering had a missing piece, a chair we didn't sit in, a name we didn't mention. Melissa. I tried everything, left voicemails, sent letters to the last address I had, even hired a private investigator. But she'd vanished completely, like she'd done it before, like she knew how to disappear. Rebecca took it hardest. I just found her mom, my twin, and now she's gone again. We'll find her, sweetheart. We won't give up. But I was starting to lose hope. Maybe some things couldn't be fixed. Maybe some wounds ran too deep. Then, on New Year's Eve, my phone rang. Unknown number. Mrs. Bennett. This is Officer Maria Santos with Seattle PD. We found Melissa Wade in a hospital. She's asking for you. My heart stopped. Is she okay? What happened? She overdosed, pills and alcohol. A neighbor found her and called 911. She's stable now, but she's in psychiatric hold. She said she needs to talk to you. Said there's something you need to know. I drove to the hospital through freezing rain. Rebecca met me there. We found Melissa in a room on the 7th floor. Psychiatric ward, security doors, pale walls, the smell of disinfectant and despair. She looked small in the hospital bed, fragile, nothing like the angry woman who'd broken into my house months ago. You came, she whispered. Of course I came. You're my daughter. She laughed weakly. That's the problem. I kept telling myself, you weren't. That I didn't need you. That I was fine alone. But I'm not fine, Carol. I've never been fine. Rebecca sat on the edge of the bed, took her hand. You don't have to be fine. None of us are fine. We're just family, and we figure it out together. I tried to kill myself, Melissa said bluntly. Not because of you, not because of anything specific, just because I'm tired. Tired of being angry, tired of being alone, tired of fighting. You're not alone anymore, I said. We're here. We're not going anywhere. But that's just it. You shouldn't be here. You should hate me. I terrorized you, threatened your grandchildren, broke into your house. I'm not a victim. I'm a villain. You're hurt. There's a difference. She closed her eyes. There's something I need to tell you about Patricia, about why she really came to find me. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? Patricia didn't want to reconnect. She wanted something else. Money. Jennifer left me a life insurance policy. $250,000. But Patricia is the executor, has been sitting on it for years. When she found out I was alive, she panicked, thought I'd come after the money. That's why she showed up at Thanksgiving, to control the narrative, make herself look like the caring aunt. How do you know this? Because she told me. After I left your house, she tracked me down, offered me a deal, said she'd split the money with me if I stayed away from you, said your family would just hurt me, use me, that I was better off alone. Rebecca's face went white. That's manipulation, abuse, I know, but part of me believed her. Part of me wanted to believe her, because being alone is what I know. Family, love, that terrifies me. I sat on the other side of the bed. Melissa, listen to me. You get to choose. You can take that money and disappear. Start over somewhere new, and I'll understand. Or you can stay, join this messy, complicated family. Let us love you. Let us be there for you. It won't be perfect. We'll make mistakes, but we'll try. Why? Why would you want me after everything I've done? Because you're my daughter. Because Rebecca deserves to know her twin. Because every person at that Thanksgiving table agreed you belong with us. Because love isn't conditional. It's not earned. It just is. She started crying, deep, shaking sobs. Years of pain pouring out. Rebecca held her, rocked her, whispered the things I'd whispered to her when she was small. You're safe. You're loved. You're home. Melissa stayed in the hospital for 2 weeks. Intensive therapy, medication adjustments, slowly, carefully, healing. We visited every day, brought pictures, told family stories, filled in 35 years of gaps. Daniel brought his kids. Amy brought her fiancé. They welcomed Melissa without hesitation, made space for her in their lives. Detective Harrison helped us deal with Patricia. Turned out the insurance fraud was just the beginning. Patricia had been embezzling from Jennifer's estate for years, using Melissa's identity to open credit cards, rack up debt. She was arrested, faced multiple charges. The money was returned to Melissa. Not that she cared much. Money can't give me back my childhood, she said, but maybe I can use it to build something better. Therapy, education, a future. When she was released from the hospital, she didn't go back to her apartment. She came home with me, to the house where Rebecca had been raised, where she should have been raised. I set up the guest room, made it hers, told her she could stay as long as she needed. What if I'm too broken? She asked one night. We were having tea, a routine we'd started. Late night talks, mother and daughter time. Then we'll be broken together. Nobody's asking you to be perfect, Melissa. Just present, just willing to try. I don't know how to be part of a family. Neither do most people. We just fake it and hope for the best. She smiled. A real smile. The first I'd seen. Spring came. Melissa started therapy 3 times a week. Started taking classes at community college. Started, slowly, building a life that felt like hers. She and Rebecca became inseparable. Made up for lost time. Finished each other's sentences the way twins do. Had inside jokes. Shared clothes. It was beautiful to watch. But there were hard days too. Days when Melissa's anger resurfaced, when she lashed out, pushed us away, tested whether we'd abandon her like everyone else had. We didn't. We stayed. We fought. We forgave. We kept showing up. Until one day in April, 6 months after that first letter, a year of chaos and pain and healing, we were having Sunday dinner. The whole family, kids running around, noise and laughter and mess, normal family chaos. Melissa stood suddenly, tapped her glass. I have something to say. The room went quiet. I spent most of my life angry, blaming, hating, and I had good reasons. What happened to me was wrong. Criminal and unforgivable. She looked at me. But you didn't do it. You were a victim too. And I'm sorry it took me so long to see that. Melissa, let me finish. I came here to hurt you, to make you pay for suffering I thought you caused. But instead, you gave me something I'd never had. Family, love, a place to belong, and I don't know if I deserve it, but I'm grateful for it. Rebecca stood, hugged her twin. You absolutely deserve it. Daniel and Amy joined, then the grandkids, then everyone, one big, messy group hug. I stood back, watched my family, all of them, including the daughter I'd never known I had, the daughter who'd been stolen, who'd suffered, who'd survived, who'd found her way home. Tom would have loved this, would have loved her. I felt his presence, his approval, his joy. Thank you, I whispered to wherever he was. Thank you for all of it. That night, after everyone left, Melissa and I sat on the porch, watching stars, drinking tea. Can I ask you something? She said. Anything? Do you ever think about the quadruplets, the babies you were supposed to adopt? I was quiet, thinking sometimes, I wonder where they are, if they're okay, if they found each other. Do you regret it? Your husband backing out. I used to, spent years wondering what if, but then I look at Daniel, at Rebecca, at Amy, at you, and I realize everything happened the way it was supposed to. The path was painful, but it led us here, to this moment, to all of us together. That's very zen of you. I laughed. I'm 57 years old. I've learned that life rarely makes sense in the moment, but looking back, you can see the pattern, the purpose. What's the purpose of all this? The separation, the pain, the reunion. Maybe to teach us that family isn't just biology. It's choice. It's showing up. It's loving someone even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. She rested her head on my shoulder. Thanks, Mom. Mom. She'd never called me that before. Always Carol. Always distance. Tears streamed down my face. You're welcome, baby girl. We sat there until the stars faded, until morning came, until a new day started. A day where I had 4 children instead of 3, where the family was complete, where the missing piece had finally found its place. Epilogue. 1 year later, Melissa opened a business together, a counseling center for adoptees and foster kids, using their story to help others navigate trauma. Daniel became their lawyer, helped them with paperwork, donated his time. Amy designed their website, their branding, made them look professional. And me, I volunteered, talked to parents, helped them understand what their children might be going through, used my pain to ease someone else's. We never found the quadruplets. Tried, hired investigators, searched records, but they'd been adopted under sealed files, protected by privacy laws. Maybe that was okay. Maybe they had good lives, happy families, no trauma to overcome. Or maybe someday, one of them would search, would find us, would knock on my door with questions. And if they did, we'd be ready. We'd have space, would make room, because that's what family does. But for now, we had each other. 4 kids, 7 grandkids, 1 very full house. On Thanksgiving, we gathered again. This time, no drama, no surprises. Just food and love and gratitude. Melissa stood to make a toast to the family I was stolen from, and the family that never stopped looking for me, even when they didn't know I existed. To second chances, to healing, to home. We raised our glasses, clinked them together, celebrated the miracle of finding each other. Because sometimes, the family you're born into isn't the family you grow up with, and sometimes, against all odds, you find your way back, broken, scarred, but together. And that's enough. That's everything. My name is Carol Bennett. I'm 57 years old. I'm a retired teacher, a widow, a mother of 4. And for the first time in my life, I feel complete. The letter that started it all, that red envelope with cutout letters, sits framed in my living room now, not as a reminder of trauma, but as a symbol of transformation. You took everything from me. Now I'm taking everything from you, Melissa wrote beneath it, in her own handwriting. But what you gave me was worth more than everything I lost. That's the truth we learned. That's the lesson we carry. Family isn't perfect. It's not always easy, but it's worth fighting for, worth healing for, worth opening your heart for, even when it's been broken 100 times before. Because, in the end, love wins, connection wins, and every lost daughter finds her way home. 3 months after Thanksgiving, a package arrived, no return address. Inside was a photograph, 4 babies in hospital cribs, identical the quadruplets, but written on the back, in handwriting that wasn't mine. Carol, we need to talk. The adoption wasn't canceled, it was stolen, and we've been looking for answers our whole lives. We finally found you. Signed, Sarah, Jennifer, Megan, and Kate. I showed Melissa, showed the family. We stared at the photo, at the impossible truth. The story wasn't over, it was just beginning. But this time, we'd face it together, all of us, as a family. And whatever came next, we'd handle it, because we'd already survived the impossible. What was one more miracle? I called the number included with the photo. A woman answered. Her voice shook with emotion. Is this Carol Bennett? Yes. Is this Sarah? Yes. And I'm sitting here with my sisters, the quadruplets you were supposed to adopt 39 years ago. We have so many questions about what happened, why we were separated, why we grew up thinking we were abandoned. My heart broke all over again. I'd like to answer them, all of them. When can we meet? Tomorrow? Is tomorrow too soon? I looked at my family, at the home we'd rebuilt, at the space we'd made for one lost daughter. Tomorrow is perfect. Bring your sisters. There's always room at this table. Because that's what family does. It makes room. It adapts. It grows. And sometimes, against impossible odds, it brings home every lost child, heals every wound, completes every circle. This was my life. Messy, complicated, beautiful, and I wouldn't change a single moment.